Hello all, welcome back to your favorite installment. Don't be shocked. Watch the last installment and you'll see where this badass facial hair came from. Feels very good, actually. I think if you talk to anybody with a beard, it just gets itchy and gnarled, and the longer and puffier it gets, it's so hard to keep it, fit and combed and unmatted, and you got to do it every day. Get up, you got to thoroughly wash your hair, wash your beard. Then Tracy's got a brush. My mom bought a brush years ago, and you got to brush it out. It's just a pain in the ass for face hair. Gandalf, my Muslim brethren who have to grow the beard, dude, I would smack a fool in that religion. Make me grow my face hair. What? It is a sign you're a man. No, I'm not a man. I'm not an elder. When I was 16, I could grow a beard like that. No, it was just darker. Doesn't mean nothing. It's face hair. Face hair. Tracy questioned me this morning. Hey, what is the wording in your last video about naked and blatant? I'm like, what are you talking about? Would you like me to shave with my sweater on? Shoddy. Foolishness. So, if you didn't watch that last video, you can watch it. See how this shaped up. Yes, and I still have jury duty. I think tomorrow. I checked online or whatever, call after 5 o'clock. Dude, in Florida, it says call this hotline after this specific period, the day prior to your scheduled appearance. Says it on your summons. The fabulous part is, below it in fine print, it says if the recording states that you do not need to attend or presents a message, otherwise, follow instructions. If there is no recording, please expect to be present on site the day and time requested. They don't even have to put a recording up. You got to go down there. That's when you know your shit's busted. Hey man, you call us up and it's that we're sorry, but the line you're attempting to call, got to go to jury duty. Cover every base. Because somebody was like, dude, I called that thing up, dialed those numbers, and it just rang. It didn't even give me a message, so I ain't going to jury duty. Oh, they were like, ooh, we got to fix that. If the phone isn't answered, please continue to expect to show up on time. And you got to be there at 7:45. Fucking jury duty. Whatever. I'm going to be like, guilty! Hang them! Capital punishment. Give him the poison. Where's the chair? I don't even know I don't even know. And that's embarrassing. I don't know if Florida has a capital punishment law of execution. I think they do. And I don't know the methodology. It's really weird because most are either electric chair or lethal injection. The lethal injection as of late has become highly controversial. Primarily because of the cocktail of poisons, the availability, what they were, their lethality. So I think the state of Texas started buying their own shit. They didn't go through whatever government agency that you had to procure that lethal poison, which is crazy. Y'all don't know how to get the shit that we got to kill our boys. Dude, 22, back of the head. No, it was poison. We'll just change the autopsy on the obituary. Whatever. They do it the way they want in Texas. I think some of the states are weird. There's a handful. I don't know, and I think this is wrong, but I could have sworn firing squad was an option you can request in some states like New Mexico, something. And up until recently, and I'm probably wrong, I thought hanging was a possible, or was the main execution type. And I don't know the numbers, and I didn't look it up, and I don't know if it's 13 out of whatever, out of 24, out of 50. I don't recall. None of it works anyway. You're fucking death row inmates, for life. Appeal again, appeal. Some of them do a pretty good job though, man. And in 22 years, and you made your 16 appeals, at the last minute you're expecting the call from the governor. Hello, governor. No. Okay, we'll let it rip. And yeah, you're dead. A lot of weird movies about that recently. Even documentaries. What would your last meal be? I know my son Jeffrey's would be a frozen Kit Kat. Times 3. Please freeze 3 giant Kit Kat bars with the 8 sticks. And I will eat those with a jumbo quart of fresh milk from a cow out back that got milked. Right now, that's his favorite meal. Oh. This is a weird installment. This is going to be Dave's choice. Dave's choice. And I'm not picking, topics to make this shit interesting, but general monologue does not tell a proper story. So these are going to be my choice stories on this fine day for our current installment. There were a lot of combat engagements this weekend. There was some football. Football's getting weird, dude. Drew Brees, they got killed Monday night. Not killed, he didn't perform, which was weird. I think it was Monday night or Thursday night football. I don't even remember. They didn't show up. And they've been playing like stormtroopers, dude. They've been playing like the clone army. Just taking over. Poor Cam Newton. I love that dude when he first came out and they did the ads and he seemed like he had some reverence and respect. And then he turned into this retard like everybody else. And it's not minority based. I think some people feel or think that it is. You got this giant black dude or this giant Hispanic dude or this giant whatever. And we know the state of, United States athletics right now. There's a high contingent of minorities in football. There's a high contingent of minorities in basketball. There's a high contingent of minorities in baseball. Hockey, growing more. There's more and more black players in hockey. Dude, I grew up with Tony McKegney in the Sabres. I think he was the only black dude playing hockey. Blacks are just superior athletes. That's the way it goes. It's a known. It's biological. You don't think so? You're stupid. And you deny that. You're stupid. I mean, fastest, strongest. That's the way it goes, dude. And it turns into this racial discussion, and it's not a racial discussion. LeBron James is a shit. Michael Jordan was a shit. Post basketball, Jordan was. During basketball, Jordan was pretty reserved, pretty respectful and thankful. Had to apologize for a thing or here or there. LeBron James seems just like a good dude who's he's like the Obama of sport, right? Just probably the prototype greatest basketball player in history. He will dominate everyone. He's better than Michael Jordan. It's just known. You can't say that because he's currently playing, but he is. I mean, his physical and his game presence and his confidence, his persona, his mental acuity. He's a bit childish at times. What fucking greatest player ever wasn't angry when shit didn't work out the way they knew it had to win? And was a bit critical of other players that made foolish mistakes. Whatever. The last championship, remember he yelled at whatever because there was seconds ticking down, 2-3 seconds left. They were in Golden State, I think, or maybe not. Maybe they were in Cleveland or wherever. And I think he called a timeout or something, or didn't call a timeout, and they lost that game. It was the second game. They got blown out. We knew they were going to get blown out. Again, by the Warriors. Just a very potent team right now. But LeBron James is a freak. That guy owns and dominates. Dominates. Always a winner. Wins, he's going to win in LA. Didn't win all the time in Chicago. Didn't win Cleveland, all the championships or any of that shit. Always a winner. Always there. Always there. He's that great. He's that dominant. His personality is that great. Off the court, he's that great. He's a showman, but he's still that great. You can see it the way he's generous, his thoughtfulness, the way he moves in and out of other arenas as a star. Moving to LA, everything about him, you know what I mean? And then you got these other guys like Cam Newton, who when you saw him, you're like, oh my God, this guy's going to revolutionize football. You saw him and you're like, he is a prototype for future. He's he's the Terminator in the command position on the gridiron. He's not 4'3" Drew Brees, Doug Flutie-esque, throwing these bombs. Dude, that guy's an anomaly and it's beautiful. Not Peyton Manning, not, Warren Moon with the sick arm, not, Dan Marino, big giant kid, Jim Kelly, two losers, but still, epic, right? And then all the great players, right? The great quarterbacks, the greatest quarterbacks, Joe Montana, Young, Brett Favre, our boy playing right now up in Green Bay. Discount double take. Having a tough season-ish, but still always there. Always there. Newton's, I don't know if it's just, I think it's immaturity. It's immaturity, social immaturity. He's a spoiled big baby. He tries to act a part, doesn't pull it off, and it's disappointing. And on one hand, I felt bad. Then I got over it. I'm like, dude, you're spending $500-$600 on your stupid fucking hats, on your stupid outfits, which are, it's a curiosity. It's strange. It's creative. Why don't you fucking focus on football, Holmes? You know what I mean? Get rid of whatever flash or pizzazz or whatever. Focus on football. Do better. And everybody gets hypercritical. Oh, man, it's not his fault, or it's his fault, or injury, whatever. Dude, he's not a leader. Not a leader. He is a self-righteous, greedy, self-interested puke. And man, have we seen a lot of those guys. But rarely you see them in a position where, from a physical acumen, from a skill acumen, they have the ability to be game changers. And they don't manifest. And then you got this little, pistol over in Cleveland who's trying it. Baker Mayfield! Just full of piss and vinegar. Doesn't have half the attributes. And he's trying to make a change. And you can see him stuttering and pushing and stopping. Freaking A if it is an attitude. Attitude. Get up again. Do it again. Get up again. Toughness is one thing, which the fights this weekend showed, the UFC fights. But toughness with heart, with fundamental beliefs, with selflessness, with generosity, with leadership, with the ability to instill positive effort. That's the recipe, and it'll never change. You get anomalies where you get Napoleon who changes the game and slaughters people, and through fear, right? Or Caesar, some of these cats, whatever. Genghis Khan, right? They will kill you if you don't fall in line. And probably the attempts to kill them are many, which they thwart like a giant Viking and then lead further on, and everyone falls in line. The vast majority of successes, though, it's a combination of those soft skills and character traits. And man, oh man, my man Cam Newton does not possess those. He's a bitch. They stink. They came close. Peyton with like a crutch and a fucking neck halo. Beat him. You bitch ass. That was glorious. The good guy. And who's better than Peyton Manning? He's such a, dope, comedic, simpleton, epic monster of a football genius from that family. His brother's still trying. Sort of breaks your heart a little bit with the Giants. Go Eli. Eesh. Those are the 180 degrees right there. One's the antithesis of the other, man. Fuse my back. I'll go back in. No, I'm not feeling too good, but I think I can lead the team. Fucking Cam. Let me throw another interception. Ew. Not a good game for the Newt. Oh well. Football's weird. Still got the powerhouses, right, that look like they're leading the league. The West Coast teams there. Pittsburgh looks tough. Yeah, New Orleans So I think it's going to be an exciting end of year. We'll have to see. We're getting late. We're getting late into it, kids. But I went and saw The Possession of Hannah Grace. Okay, it's a weird show in December, late November, horror. I would call it a horror suspense. The suspense portion was pretty fabulous, I will say. Well done. I thought I saw somewhere that this damn thing was rated like 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. The scariest movie ever. I don't know. I keep seeing that shit. Maybe it's like false advertising, fake news, right? They're trying to drum up people back into the movie theaters. It reminded me quite a bit to The Nun, which Tracy and I saw around Halloween. The Nun had more of a combo in the storyline, where you had like Book of Treasures, you know, you had like a Nick Cage, Tom Hanks style thriller that tied in horror, that tied in, you know, maybe sort of like you're locked in a place like Hostel. It was a weird ride, but it had, The Possession of Hannah Grace had that feel. And it opened up quickly to that feel because, and I'm not ruining anything, a chick with troubles gets introduced to a new job, which is sort of her last straw, in a morgue in Boston General or whatever. And this morgue looks like an industrial prison. It looks like you're on the Furnace Planet, whatever it was called, Helios. No, I don't remember what it was called. Maybe. For my boy Riddick, right? The Furnace Prison. It's industrial, black walls. It's got all your fluorescent lighting triggered by motion, metal, rock, dull, dark, all the things that are pretty cool for what you want, I think, to have a pseudo horror, that, you know, downturn, set the tone attitude. And it progresses from there, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was weird. Tracy found it completely unentertaining, unthrilling, not unstimulating. I found it quite stimulating. There are a lot of suspense, creepy up the back of your neck, hair on your arms. Not based on music, not based on jump scares, few jump scares, but just the weight of the moment. So I think it was well done in some of those respects. And there's a build-up. There's a build-up because this thing has a theme to it, with a little bit of side story that ties into what's immediately happening in this morgue. Over about a 48-hour period. Pretty cool. Here's the unfortunate part. The climax and then the end of story, it sort of falls out, which I sort of figured it would. It would be really hard creatively and from a script to write something unique and original. I think you could have. I think you'd have had to get some good writers in a room and really think it through. You don't want it to be too complex where it makes your head hurt and people got to think about it and then they're like, what just happened? You know, I don't know, like Lord of the Rings or something. Is that the end of the movie? Did you read the book? I didn't read the book. There's like 5 of them. They're this big. Did the movie just end right there? Yeah, it ended. That's how the book ended. So this thing was weird. I thought it was pretty good. Tracy didn't enjoy it. I did. And it's got features that are sort of Saw-like. It's got stuff from Legacy, some scares from like the Legacy world, like the Ring or the Well or whatever those scary stories were. You know, the creeping, cracking, scary, you know, possessed, cadaver body. It's got some weird stuff with eye color. Yeah, I liked it. And I'd give it 3 out of 5 stars, 3.5 out of 5 stars. And I would say to you, if you want to go see a mildly entertaining movie, go see it. I think you might enjoy it. I think the actors and actresses were pretty good. Nobody of note. No one that I think I knew. It's an unknown cast, which is cool. Give everybody a shot. And pretty good cast. It had some cats that did well acting. The main character is a female. She did a pretty good job. Wasn't an extensively long movie, you know, where you're like, oh my God, I think it was an hour and 20 minutes. So you were sort of in and out. Not bad. And you left feeling okay. That was not bad. I had some scares. I sort of expected it to end that way. That's okay. This was a decent movie, and that's how I left. So, the long and the short of it, I would give you 3.5 stars, and I'd say if, you got an open night some night in the next 2 weeks or whatever, this thing's still out, go see it. If you like scary movies and you get a little tingly and And I think for some people, they may find a lot of enjoyment out of the scares. Tracy and I don't scare that much. Like I said before, I sort of, joke myself into scaring. But there were some parts in here that and I enjoyed it. So, Possession of Hannah Grace, 3.5 out of 5. Go see it. Enjoy it. Fight Weekend. Holy buckets, man. Put your belt on. Take a deep breath. Have a sip of your drink for this one before we get into boxing and UFC. Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder. Holy moly. Pay-per-view. I think the first heavyweight pay-per-view for a dozen years, 2003, maybe? Heavyweight. Lennox Lewis against Vitaly Klitschko. I don't know. Klitschko. 2003, maybe? And I think Lennox Lewis knocks Klitschko out in 5th round, 6th round. Pretty big. Lennox Lewis was pretty big, dude. Come on. So this one was big. The Englishman against the American. Deontay Wilder, who's just tearing it up. 6'7", and the Englishman 6'9". You got these two gargantuans. Englishman's a little heavy, though he's lost a lot of weight. If you didn't watch him on Rogan, he was walking around at 3,500 pounds. He's just a giant of a man. Drinking and drugging after he'd won the championship, and then just went on a spiral downward in the last 3-4 years. And then found some bottom and saw this dude, and then got tied into this dude and found a new path out with his wife, with his family, with his kid. I think he's got a kid over in England. His relatives grabbed onto boxing and did it again. Clawed his way back out of whatever depth of hell he had gone to. And came back with sobriety and purpose. And the long and the short of it, fought to a draw with Deontay Wilder. With a lot of shit talking. I think you had camps that said Wilder's going to pummel this dude, and you had camps that said, I don't know, you don't know Fury. Fury's a freak. Big long arms, lanky, throws these punches, got good movement. I mean, for a big giant man that doesn't look the part, he will rip you apart. Where Deontay Wilder's the guy that you go, oh, okay, this guy's a heavyweight, he's a giant in the ring. A little skinnier. He's not like, George Foreman. Sort of Joe Frazier-ish. Joe Frazier was big. This guy's a big, tall dude. Both of them. And what an entertaining fight. Good Lord, 12-rounder. Fury opened up viciously for the first 6-7 rounds. Throwing shots, unanswered shots, ducking and moving, going in the corner. Wilder responded a few times with some good shots, but, he came out slow. Fury looked vicious. And then I think in the 9th, Wilder threw a couple punches, and it was a left-right combo or something like that, a jab-right combo, and just dropped old Tyson. And it was a drop, but nothing. He sat there, he watched the ref make the count, he got up when he wanted. And it almost looked like it was fatigue and stumbling or whatever. Ring rust. How long has it been since Fury's been in the ring, right? And you were like, eh. And then the fight game continued up to the 12th. However, Wilder started getting some shots in. Some good combinations, putting pressure against the fence. Fury's got great movement for a big man. He'll make you miss, but Wilder was landing some shots. You could see it. But like up to the 5th, 6th, 7th round, Wilder's eye was puffy. Fury was lighting him up. And then in the 12th, Wilder has a combination again and just bonk, Oh, hits him. He's off balance. Boom, hits him again going down. You're like, whoa. And it looked like Creed 2. Dunk, back on the mat. And you're like, oh shit, this is over. It was a clear knockdown. And Fury was clearly fucked up. And you're like, oh my God. Got back up, finished the fight. The scores were weird. It was like 114, 111, 114, 112, 115, 113, 115, 113 Wilder, 114, 112 Fury, and then 113, 113 split. Weird. And so it was a fucking draw, which means Wilder retains the belt, and there's definitely going to be a rematch. And I don't know. I think a lot of people still love the fight game, the boxing fundamentals, and I think this was a wonderful, wonderful display of that. As opposed to maybe some of the recent fights, Conor and Floyd. The Canelo fights, the little guys throw, man. There's lots of punches, you know what I mean? These big guys, though, you're looking for power. Lennox Lewis, George Foreman, Mike Tyson. Woo! Even to the point where you're going to spend your $50, $60 for pay-per-view. And in the first round, you're going to have 3 shots on the inside and have your champ, take your guy out. And everybody's pissed off because they just spent that money for a fight that's gone. Which that never happened in the past. Tyson changed that, right? First, second, third round shots with that inside power. And it was over with 16-ounce gloves. Fuck. Yeah, I think those days are gone, which is fine. This is entertaining. This is a great fight. Good movement. Great skills from both of these guys. Use of the whole ring. Use of, their energy. Big men. Conserve your energy. Small, spurts of use. Where Floyd, right, don't get hit. Use your shoulder. Keep your back, right? Floyd plays a different game for a little guy. These big guys, they're going to take shots, and these shots are going to be pummeling. So this was a fucking awesome display. And the rematch should be exciting. All in all, lived up to, I think, everything that everyone touted. And not only that, this dude that hasn't been in the ring in a while, coming from England, and man, did he show up. So whatever the shit is that he found deep in his soul, and then converted that to the horror of every day to just claw your ass back up, right? If you don't understand those stories and you don't have motivation and you never really sought that story out to understand it and to try to relate to that or, parlay that as a possible for yourself, you don't have to hit the depths of hell bottom for you to change and shape and motivate. Clearly he found it, and he was a different person and walked in that ring and showed it. Woo! I think from a personal standpoint and clearly from an athletic standpoint, from a physical boxer. So that was fabulous, man. Took place at the Staples Center, pretty cool. I think Lennox Lewis against Klitschko was at the Staples Center. Exciting future on that one. Fury Wilder rematch. Let's look for it. I think Wilder made $4 million, Fury made $3 million. The meager compensatory aspects of the world of pugilism. What? Fucking boxers walking away with that kind of cash. Wow. Oh, it's not popular, and you know what? It's rather disgusting, and it's barbaric. Yeah, well, unfortunately, a lot of people don't agree with you. These cats made some cash. They got paid. I don't know what the buys were. I don't know any of the statistics, but clearly it worked out. And those aren't huge paydays, which is great, right? They're big paydays, but they're not Floyd Mayweather idiotic paydays that just taint and queer the entire system. Like Don King shit. Oh, you ruin the fucking sport and turn it into some idiotic machine spectacle. UFC. Oh my God. So you had Friday, you had the TUF, the Ultimate Fighter finale. And that headlined with RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, fighting against Mr. Usman Kamaru, the mad Nigerian. What the hell's his name? The nasty Nigerian, whatever he is, dude. Oh, just a specimen of an individual. But prior to that, you had Juan Espino fight Justin Frazier for one of the tough finals, and then you had Macy Chiasson fight Pani Kianzad. So you had this American, I'm quite sure, lesbian, hard knocks gal fight this Iranian. Pretty sure she's from Iran, Pani Kianzad, and she's fighting out of somewhere else. I don't know, wherever the hell, England or something like that, but she's Iranian. So that was a weird story, and just great fights that night. Brian Caraway, a little Cupcake's ex-boyfriend. Misha Tate, for 15 years, a dozen years as they fought, brought her up to fame. And then she dumped him. Who the hell knows? I don't know the particulars of that. She dumped him, I think in 2016, 2017. And then about a year later, she got pregnant with some other dude. Poor Brian Caraway. And he got waxed at this thing. He just got destroyed by Pedro Munoz. Just outclassed. And you're like, dude, he's on a downward trend and I feel bad. I recall him stating, it's been pretty interesting. She's like a top contender, #1 in the world, and I'm like in top 5. And I was like, Brian, top 5 what? Top 5 cornermen? You're under Stitch? Nobody ever heard of you, dude. You're not top 5 nothing. And I think at a point in the little guys' weights, maybe, because it was a bantamweight, I think, he may have been, something, somewhere, where he beat somebody that was in the top 10, maybe? And I don't want to cause dispute, but the dude's a nobody, and he's always been a nobody, and he never, if you said anything on a card, the only way he was recognized was because of Misha Tate. He was never a real qualified or ranked fighter. Macy Chiasson whooped ass. So she got her contract. Fiendish, dude. A bear. Striking, kicking, ground and pound. That fight was a nightmare. That poor Iranian girl ran into a buzzsaw. You see a lot of women talk shit, and especially the manly women. Just, you got testosterone. Dude, we know what testosterone is. Yeah. And I've seen so many manly women talk shit. This broad, with her hair in the ponytails, ink everywhere, tall and lanky, sort of talked a little shit, not a lot. Just about how much she loved the fight game. Combat was that's her gig. That's her down the middle. She just murdered this poor Iranian girl. And it was like, whoa. So this Macy Chiasson chick looks like she's going to be something. And that's awesome. We need more tough women coming in there. And that's not we do and we don't. There's still great bouts in there. But clearly the women's classes lack the cyborg type brutality. Or a couple, some of the Brazilians. Rousey brought it, but in submission. Rousey was never a great striker. The little chickie out in Colorado, who's done terrible, she brought it, right? And she's lost her last few matches, her last few fights. But an outright brawl attitude. And most of the small women don't have that. They throw and they try to move. You get some scrappers. And a lot of the fights, the female fights, especially the smaller weights, right? The flyweight, whatever, they don't do damage. Just like Demetrius. Demetrius didn't have a lot of bloody brawl, crazy fights. Because the little guys don't have the power, the kinetic energy behind what they do or throw. So you have good submissions. It's exciting to watch, but it's not that brutality. And I'm not saying I want to watch brutality, but it's an aspect of it. I don't like the fights like Robbie Lawler against our Canadian friend, Rory McDonald. That wrecked. That was that was a portion of ending both of their careers, where Lawler's lip was split from like the bottom of his nose down, and when he talked, one piece moved and the other hung. You're like, what? I mean, that's reconstructive surgery, right? And McDonald's nose was crushed back into his head, where he needed full, reconstructive surgery around his nose and his orbitals. And you're like, dude, I don't look at those. Those fights are insane. They are some of the greatest fights, but that brutality is not why I watch UFC. And it shocks me. And it's sort of, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, God. Because that's exactly what it is. Those are career enders-ish. That type of punishment cannot be doled out and that you walk away in any way, shape, or form, anything related or relatively closely to what you were prior to that fight. You've lost. You've sacrificed a ton. Physically. And not right now, and not during this healing, and not when you're, back, for the rest of your life. How your face feels, your ability to clear your sinuses and breathe, potential brain damage, any type of physical changes in the way your head works or whatever body part. Dude, you're changed forever. I don't wish those fights on anyone. I watch them. They're brutal. I like the awesome, challenging fights and that's why I've loved this sport. Most people can't take 10 shots to the head. They're out. And there ain't no tapping. You're KO'd. So I've loved it. Unlike boxing, where you pummel and your brain gets these minor fucking, shots where it jiggles around in there. No wonder you get fucking Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or some kind of permanent brain damage. It's like walking up to the wall and going, for an hour every day. How you think you're gonna feel? I got mild headaches, can't remember my name. Where am I? Boxing's bad, always has been. The headgear never changed it. It's the fat gloves. The giant fat gloves were the downfall for boxing. Should have used the bare knuckle. The UFC went to these stupid gloves, fingerless, and it changed the game with a little bit of rules. So Macy won, awesome fight. Juan Espino, this I don't know if he's Spanish. Canary Islands, freak, rolled through Justin Frazier like that dude. They pulled him off the street. Woo! Another contract awarded, and Espino is insane. Awesome fight. My lord, for a tough finale, awesome fight. Not your Forrest against, what's his name? Change the game where it's just bloody combat. This was skill. It was an excellent fight. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And then RDA against Kamaru. Kamaru beat RDA pretty bad, which is sad and disappointing. I love RDA. It's sad to see that. I've talked about him in the past, his heyday, when he fucking destroyed Ben Henderson, just dismantled him like a Terminator coming forward against a baby man. And Ben Henderson never was treated that way. His fucking calf kicks, his low kicks, his leg kicks at Ben Henderson had legs like a tank. And RDA ran through him and ate him. And then he did it to Pettis. Like, holy shit. What is that? That's a fucking cockroach. A giant fucking roach. Great. Yeah, that was awesome. RDA got killed. Kamaru beat him pretty bad, so that sucked. But that shows you where the Nigerian is. He's a bad man. He'll get you. He will get you, and that's awesome to see. So he deserved that bout. He beat him up going forward. He took some shots. RDA tried to dole out some shots, but it was over, dude. He just got dismantled, and he's had some good fights. They both had some good fights coming up to this thing. I think RDA's living and training permanently here in the U.S., maybe either out on the West Coast or down here in Florida. And he's just doing well. He's learning the language. He's Americanizing. He's integrating with these fight teams. He's continuing his incredible learning. Unlike you go back to Brazil, and I'm not saying it's bad, but Nova União and all these guys, Damian Maia camps, they still follow brutality. They spar at 100%. You still got to prove yourself to beat the hell out of the guy that's in that frickin', training space with you, because that's how that fucking camp is built, through a pecking order, man. Because there's a million Brazilians down there that want to walk into that camp right behind you, and that's sort of not how we are here, right? We've got it different here. The U.S. is just different. It's choice. Those guys are fighting to live down there. So weird to see. Disappointing. I'm sad. I love Rafi. He'll be back. All the Brazilians come back, dude. The Brazilians don't retire, as we've seen. Anderson's having his fight against the young Anderson coming up here. I think it's been called and scheduled, and I don't know when it is, but it's Silva against the Israel Adesanya, or whatever the guy's name is. They're calling him the young Anderson Silva. Oh, and he was present down there in Adelaide at the fight that occurred Saturday. The Australian and the Far Eastern camps had some combat going on in Adelaide, which this was Friday night. Saturday night we went to Adelaide, and I'm telling you now, man, transitioning over to the Brazilians. JDS Dos Santos showed up, and Mauricio Shogun Rua, dude, one of the greatest ever. That guy's got a monster heart. He's got a sick mind. He's got unbelievable skills. He's got great drive. He's never looked outrageously fit. That's his body type. Always paunchy, but big legs, good shoulders, good size, great brain, good movement, sick cage skills, brilliant spacing, great timing, good vision. Oh my God. Tyson Pedro looks like Jason Momoa. He looks like a miniature Aquaman. And it occurred to me quickly that this is another one of those case studies where the Australians, Travis Brown, Ronda Rousey's husband, right, with the giant tribal tattoos, with facial hair, with braids, Tai Tuivasa had Aboriginals come out singing, clicking boomerangs, and singing tribal songs with body paint. It was fucking cool. That's what his entrance was. And then he sang this song that was very personal and emotional to him. These guys are deep rooted in their culture and in their strength and their machismo to show their power and their spirit. And the Brazilians destroyed them, and they always will, because the Brazilians and the United States and some of Europe and some of Asia, excuse me, my nose is itchy. I got a hair up here. They've got combat sport machines that it doesn't matter how big of a heart and drive and attitude you have. It has evolved to a professional, world-class combat environment. And if you don't think that, watch Dos Santos, watch Rua go after these two up-and-comers in Australia. They take the Australians' best shots and they fucking mangle them. And these guys are good. They're still top players in Brazil. They're not the tops at the top of the game anymore. They've taken way too many shots. They've had a lot of combat losses. They're legends. If there's any Hall of Fame, JDS and Shogun are going to be in it. After a decade or more, they destroyed these Australians, dude. And you watch it and you're like, oh, I get it. These guys are top of the line for training, top of the line for skill set, top of the line for evolution, combat evolution, submissions, striking, grappling, cage management, space use, everything. And when you put the will to win, never lose on top of that, you're going to have to choke me out. The referee's going to have to call this. These dudes will beat 9 out of 10 mofos in the world other than the top 5s. They're that insane, which is why Brazil is one of the top combat arenas on the planet. Dude. And you saw it again this Saturday. Unbelievable. Tai Tuivasa stood there and hunted JDS. Beat him up, pepper him. He had a great jab. Just beating him up. Not fit. They have the leg art from their tribal shit. They have just intimidating dudes. And the Brazilians took the shots, found their fucking minute, and pummeled these fools. To where you saw it. I win. I'm better. I am a better combat sport expert. I'm a better mixed martial arts fiend. Why do you not understand? I was the greatest at one time, and they showed that. Epic. And I hate Brazil. I'll tell everybody, I hate the Brazilians. They were the greatest cheaters in the world. That they were allowed to cheat. There's no cheating when you are fighting a combat sport. Win by any means. We've talked about this in the past. Which is why every one of them walked out yoked. And you're like, what, does Brazil grow like fucking G.I. Joe guys? Oh, they sure do. Get in line. Injection. Whew. And you see the remnants of this now. Because I think JDS is in America, and he lives here now. Junior Santos. And he's got pretty good English. Hua stays, I think he switched camps. He's training under Damian Maya camp now. Only speaks Portuguese. That's his world. That's where he'll always stay. And I think that's the connection. His people, his nation, his line. But JDS, he's become Americanized. He's got a lot of money. His kids go to schools here. Which, dude, that's evolution. That's smarter. For the next generation. And I get that. I get better. That's what we all want for our kids and for our lives. And these two showed up and beat the bejesus out of Australia. Justin Willis fought Mark Hunt, a big up-and-comer in the U.S., a quiet dude from a tough life. I think he lived in 21 homes growing up, just a foster child. Smart fighter. Dude, he's got an excellent boxing profile. His jab was crisp. He stood up and had great movement. He circled away from the power hand. Hunt deflated through his big hurried mix, and I think Hunt's old. I don't know. I might be wrong. I think Hunt's 44, but he's still fighting. He's had some insane brawls. He's got a chin made out of fucking granite from Atlantis. Always a game brawler. Big guy. I don't know if he ever comes into the octagon fit. He doesn't need to be fit. Walks around, throws power haymakers. Never caught Willis with a solid shot. Hit him with a couple shots, but never a solid shot, because solid shots from Hunt usually knock you down. Unless you're unique. You got some kind of no brain, no nerve. Willis did an outstanding, and it wasn't the most entertaining fight. I found it very entertaining from a fight stance, from a striking stance. This kid, Justin Willis, impressed the shit out of me. Didn't go in there wailing. Played a great game. The little commentators, the English cat and the other English cat, and I love the one dude. He had the red mohawk. He's great. They said, I guess this is his game plan. He's not going to engage Mark Hunt and knock him out. Fuck no. Peppered him. Beat him up. Had some great combo shots after the jab. Threw some good kicks. Had a high kick, a head kick. And the crowd booed, and Hunt, stalked him the whole time. This guy, hey, that's a part of the game. Cut the fucking guy off if he's moving away from you. Didn't cut him off, staggered around, ran out of gas, got his little head punched in, and lost. And this dude goes, I'm not even talking here. Coming after the fight to interview him, he goes, I got nothing to say. I'm going to give the microphone and the forum to Mr. Mark Hunt. This is his time. And he let him speak. And Hunt said, I'm sorry, guys, disappointed you. Didn't fight like I could. I love you, Adelaide. I love you, Australia, New Zealand, blah, blah, blah. Gone. Very good fight. I loved it. And it's Justin Willis, man. And then, I don't know who it was, Tai Tuivasa, after he got his head dismantled by Junior Dos Santos. He said, Justin Willis, you better watch out. I'm coming, man. Whatever, dude. Yeah, you're going to go downgrade your game. Beat somebody else up. Junior Dos Santos, I'm not fighting you again, you fuck. You knocked me out. So, awesome fight card. Awesome fights. Entertaining. Brazilians showed up. God, the legendary Brazilians. Yeah, it was epic. Very enjoyable. It's great to see the old dudes win. Yushin Okami, he lost to Konchenko, Alexei. He was on the undercards. I guess that's a disappointment. Yushin keeps coming back. And they had one Ben Gwynn and Wilson Hayes, and Wilson won. But that main card was extremely entertaining. It was awesome. And it was this weekend was a great entry into next weekend's fucking Brian Ortega, Max Holloway, El Kakui, the boogeyman fight. Oh my God. And then Joanna Champion against Shevchenko. What a December. That Dana White, that trickster, he lines it up. So, awesome fights. Watch them if you haven't. Real deal, man. And this coming up weekend, maybe this week, I'm going to do a half hour, I think, on this December 8 card. This thing's sick. Fucking watch it. Comment words. Out.